The first ball in tennis is so important. And when I say the first ball, I'm not talking about in a match, the serve, the return. I want to talk about the first ball in general because a lot of people get fooled by this. And I'm going to start with a story. I was interviewing for a position for another interview for a tennis position, one of the many that I've had, and it was in Morrisville, New Jersey. And this guy, he was a character. Uh, Maybe I'll speak more on him later. But it was like a 12, it was massive. It was like a 12 court indoor facility that was, he must have either bought, I don't think he bought it. I don't know if he bought, I don't really know. I don't know if he bought it or rented it, but it was massive. It was like 12 courts. The surface was fairly new, but for the most part, it was just this giant leftover facility that this guy must have took over. Nothing fancy about it. It was a straight money maker. That's what it was all about, making money. Morrisville, New Jersey. If you don't know where Morrisville, New Jersey is, it's right. I believe it's right outside of Trenton. It's like it's in a bad area, but it's also near a lot of rich people. So I guess it works. And I was there interviewing for a tennis pro position, and I was supposed to be a independent, kind of like an independent contractor, because uh, he had courts available that I could, if I could fill the courts, I could obviously have a job. And I was supposed to focus more on 10 and unders, so it was a really big sales gig. And this guy, I remember sitting down to eat with him, and he said to me, we were talking about quick start and uh, different philosophies, etc. And he straight out said, if I don't sell the customer on uh, improving their technique, then I don't have a job. And at that point, I really knew this wasn't going to work with this guy. At this point in my tennis career and what I was looking for, but as far as making money, you could definitely work there and probably get hours. See, the difference between that club and where I was at the time, I didn't have unlimited court space. I could only do like 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day. With this guy's facility, I could take the whole court for the whole day, as many hours as I wanted any day of the week. But the main part of this story that I want to get into that's to do with the first ball is he put me on the court to hit with a really good 13 or 14-year-old girl. And I mean, she was good and she was into tennis. So she comes out and he's like, let's see what you can do. And let's hit with this girl. And he's feeding the balls in and he's feeding them to her. And if you don't know anything about young people, they like to hit hard and they don't really have an awareness about this for the most part. And of course, she's getting the first ball and she's blasting it away. And I just stepped on the court. I'm trying to get the balls back. I'm not hitting anything offensive. I'm just getting the balls back. She's hitting winners. She's putting pressure on me, and we get into a game. He's like, let's play a 10. It's a 10, and she's beating me. 10-8, 10-7, 10-6, whatever it was. She just keeps beating me. We played like 2 or 3 games, and the courts were fast. I was getting used to the environment. As I said, just stepped on the court. I drove 2.5 hours to Morrisville, New Jersey. I had not eaten all day. And even when we went out to eat, I didn't. I ate. I think I hardly ate at all because I was so focused on talking. And all this is going on in my head. If you haven't checked that video out, related video to that story about eating. And this girl's making me look like an idiot. So then he's like, okay, let's do some serve. So we start serving, and I start hitting spots. And he even says, like, oh, this guy, you can hit spots. Of course I can hit spots. I mean, you're feeding the ball right to her. She gets the first crack at it, and then what am I supposed to do? And so I get the serve, and I'm hitting spots, and we're playing. We do it again. We play points. I don't know if we were playing games or games to 7, but I start winning, and this girl starts to freak. She is freaking out, and he's saying how, well, we can stop, and she's like, no, don't stop, no, like I'm gonna beat this guy. And I mean, I was younger at the time. I was probably like 30, 31, in great shape, other than the things that I mentioned. And This girl was so mad that she was losing to me. Like, she actually thought, because of the first ball, she thought she had me. She thought she was better than me. Whatever. All those things are probably going through her mind. And then reality kicked in. The guy was feeding her the ball, the first ball. And even in warm-ups, this happens. I was just at a futures tournament, and I hit with one of the alternates. And not to take anything away from this guy, really cool that he came out. I think he's like 18. It's very cool that he would even come out at that age. I know at that age I would never do something like that. He had a lot of things going on in his mind, I'm sure. His first time there, he was kind of shocked that he got in, but I was just out. I was just there to I told him I would hit with him and support him, do whatever he needed to do. So I really wasn't gonna really be that bothered by it. But you can see in this video. I'll put it up on the screen here. He's taking the first crack at the ball for the most part. I'm just getting it back. And often this happens in warm up a lot as well, or when you're just hitting with somebody. Their first ball in, you might take the approach. I'm just going to get it in the court or hit it at a decent pace, a nice rally pace, and then he gives it a little bit extra oomph, and there he goes. He's off, and you're stuck. And he or she looks like the stronger, better player. And in reality, it has nothing to do with a tennis match. I mean, for the most part, you give almost anyone who has any experience in tennis the first ball and you say, do what you want, they can take advantage, and the rally will never get turned around. It's nothing like a tennis match. The serve has to be in place. The return has to be in place. And even when you look at the serve with these big servers, especially when you're not playing a match, a whole nother video. When it's not a match, they come out and they're banging serves, they're feeling good. They'll never do that in a match. They'll never be that consistent in a match, or at least rarely. And it's making them look really good, especially when there's no points too. And people do this all the time. And I don't know about you guys, but what's going through my mind, a lot of times I'm really thinking, I want to be bothered by it, but I'm definitely concerned. At times, I'm concerned about other people and what they're seeing and what they're thinking, because people don't notice this stuff. And if it was up to me, at this point in my life, it was up to me. I guess it is up to me. I would probably tell the guy, especially if he's a friend or what. I would just straight up tell him, like, look, you're hitting too hard. Just rally pace. We're not going to do this unless if you want to do this. Let's put some score on it, or just I'm going to make you aware. I'm going to make you aware that this is what you're doing, so you don't think that, especially with younger people or people you never met before. I mean, with someone it's not as big of a deal, but people you never met before, younger people, they'll do this all the time. And the way people think, I do think they believe. A lot of times they aren't aware of this. They think they're bigger, faster, and stronger than you. And it's like, no, bro, you got the first ball. The first ball is everything.